well. So here it is. Objective today is to find areas of regular polygons and triangles using trigonometry. Geometry Notes 10.5 Day 1. Okay, we're going to skip the 6A and B when we do these notes. You can't see this at home, but I'm pointing out on the board that finding missing sides, we're reviewing sine, cosine, and tangent. SOHCAHTOA, it's what we do before we go swimming. Fantastic. Okay, you can also use Pythagorean theorem, to find missing sides if you're given two in a right triangle. To find missing angles, use the inverse version. I'm just putting those up because I want you to recall those. There are over 18 questions in sine, cosine, tangent on your final all ready to roll. Okay. So now, keep in mind, today is all about area of regular polygons. Area is equal to 1/2 ANS. But before we get there, we need to learn how to find missing pieces of our polygon when we're not given all the pieces of information. Last week, 2 weeks ago, it seems like, you guys did a quest. That's what it was. It's half a test, and it's in your grade as a test, and it's 50% of your grade for chapter 10. And those folks who did not do the review failed the test pretty much. There was a direct correlation to people who didn't do the review and failed the test. So there is a pretty huge benefit to do the reviews, okay? Make sure you're doing this review right now because this is sine, cosine, tangent. If I'm looking at this, I've got SOHCAHTOA, and it's all right here, SOHCAHTOA, right up top here. If this will let me draw, it's not, so let's try that again. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, you've got to recognize that in this, I'm giving you a 60-degree angle. I give you X, I give you 24. If you recall the shortcut 30, 60, 90 triangle, you already know X is 12. You're done. Okay, 30, 60, 90 triangle, it's on the final. But if you have to recall, let's check it out. Standing here at 60, X is adjacent, 24 is hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. I'm going to use cosine because that's ka. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. On this one, I'm using cosine. So I'm here, cosine of 60. I'm going to write this down. I already know the answer. Okay, I'm just reviewing material. 24x divided by 24, I multiply both sides by 24. And this is an example of me showing my work. So please, please, please make sure you're showing yours. And I pop it in my calculator. Always on this section in the book. Make sure you show me the numbers you're going to multiply together. Fat fingeritis is the #1 reason people don't get things right. I can give you partial credit if I know what you're doing in your calculator. Write it down. Just don't have a miracle happen, Bloom, and I got an answer. Well, left and right is a miracle too. So make sure you show your work you're putting in. Now, in this next one in B, I move the angle. W's here. This is opposite. This is still the hypotenuse. Well, opposite hypotenuse is no longer cosine, it's sine. Okay, so I'm going to use sine. Sine of 54, W over 17, opposite over hypotenuse. Again, I'm putting this in my calculator, but I got to solve for W. I multiply both sides by 17. So I have 17 sine of 54 equal W. And now when I multiply these together in my calculator, I should come out with 13.75 equal W. For those at home, for those here, make sure that's what the case you're going to come up with. Okay, and people are like, oh, it's fine, it's whatever. This isn't English. It's not how you feel about the problem. There is a definite answer. And if the answer you got and I got are different, we got to talk. Somebody made a mistake and we got to clarify our mistake or clear up our mistake. Okay, so your turn, do C, go. Okay, so the first thing is I'm looking at this, I got 28, I got opposite hypotenuse, so I'm looking at sine again, but now instead of having my hypotenuse with the number, my hypotenuse has a variable. I still treat it like it's the number. I multiply both sides by x, so I got x on both sides. And now I divide 10 by sine of 28. So once I get this division set up, I'm golden. I just pop in my calculator. But again, be aware that your calculator has two settings in its mode. If right now you are getting different values than what I have, your mode is in the wrong setting and we need to talk. and set it out to the right one. If you use calculators from my classroom, my pre-calc uses the calculators and they switch back and forth between radian, degree, willy-nilly all the time. Okay, you have to know that you must have your modem, your calculator, and degree and able to have the same values. Radian's like the difference between Celsius and Fahrenheit, as far as, how we do measurements and stuff. That's the review, sine, cosine, tangent. We're going to use that the rest of the class. Okay? Maybe if we get moving on. Now, this is not in your notes. And I was thinking about the order, and I got it up here, find central angle, use half the central angle and everything. I've got it on the board, but now since I'm doing notes online, I've got it online too. This is pretty much the steps I'm doing for every one of my polygons. When I'm looking for the pieces of information I need, 1/2 A, N, S, I'm always in a, holding pattern, looking for A, looking for N, looking for S. Once I have all three, I'm golden. And remember, perimeter, 1/2 AP, perimeter is N times S, okay? They're the same equation, pretty much. So find central angle, 360 divided by the number of sides. They're regular polygons, so all the sides are the same. Cut the central angle in half, because I'm making a right triangle. Okay, so I got to cut the central angle in half. I got this apothem coming in through here. I'm cutting that central angle in half, that's why. Okay, these are congruent because they are isosceles triangles. Each one of the little wedges going around a polygon, a regular polygon, is an isosceles triangle. They're all the same size. Okay, then this polygon, it's 2x really, because we cut that side in half. It's equal because that apothem is the perpendicular bisector. Okay, or the median, or the altitude, or okay, so it's all those things in this triangle on this side here. Now, once I know I've made my right triangle, I make sure, I label the measures I have, and labeling the measures I have is just N, S, and A. Which ones I got, which ones am I looking for, and then I seek out those ones I need. I don't do all of them. People just go, oh, I'm gonna find all this. Don't find all stuff. Just find what you need to be successful for finding the area, okay? And after I'm done, I plug into the formulas and I'm golden, okay? So let's make sure we got that going. This was my pointer. I don't know why I couldn't find it, okay? But moving on. Here's our example. Read the problem, check it out. N's the number of sides, S is the side length, A is the apothem. In this case, what is the area of a regular nonagon? Nonagon is a 9-sided figure with 10 centimeter sides. Well, automatically, they gave me 9, because nonagon is 9. My side length is 10, okay? So I got those two things right off the bat. That was quick. Now, the rest of the information that I'm going to find. If I take 360, divide by 9, where did I get 9? It's the number of sides. I pop it in, I get 40. I cut 40 in half, I get 20. And people are like, where did 20 go? That's where the 20's from, right there. I pulled the triangle out I'm working with right now. A right triangle, half the isosceles triangle that makes a central angle, okay? Now the problem here is, where in the world did he get 5? And I say it this way, what's half of 10? And you're like, 5. Oh, see, the whole side is 10. Half of that side length, which is X, is 5. So that's where that comes from. Remember, I look at this as X, that's X. So 2X equals 10, X has got to be 5, just that 1/2. Now, to find the apothem, find A, that is our apothem. To find the apothem, A, and I should probably say apothem. That's this thing right here. I'm finding the apothem. The distance from the midpoint of the side to the center is done exactly the same way we just did the previous 3. 5 is opposite, A is adjacent, tangent. Tangent of 20 is equal to opposite over adjacent, okay? We got opposite over adjacent. So now I've got that going, I solve. So I got A tan of 20 is equal to 5, and A is equal to 5 divided by tan of 20. Okay, so, and here's the deal. I'm writing it in this way. I'm not even popping it in my calculator. And people are like, what? How in the world? Why in the world can you do it that way? Because remember, and I'm sure you've heard it from me, you've heard it from your science teacher, rounding error. Rounding error is error found as you round your values you find in a problem, and then you multiply all those rounded values for a final answer. Because of your calculator, you don't have to round all the way. You can enter everything straight up in your calculator and it'll all work. And people are like, how's that work, Boom? So here it is. Area is equal to 1/2 ANS. And I spread it out so I can actually show you where everything is getting plugged into. First of all, I got 1/2. I was given N and S, but now I'm going to find that 5 divided by tan of 20. Okay, this is a big deal when you're putting this in your calculator, so you got to be careful. And we're going to talk about that. And then the other two things were given, so I'm going to make them both black. 9 and 10. 9 was N, 10 is S, and I know those are both 90. 10 times 9 is 90. What's half of 90? If I was going to go and share a cost with a friend, and it's $90, how much money would both of us contribute? 90 divided by 2, it becomes what? 45. Okay, as soon as I put money down, people are all over the place. And people are like, why is he doing that? 90 divided by 2, that's half of 90 is 45. And the reason I'm doing that is it's going to make it easier for me to put this in my calculator. Looks like a 46, so I'm going to fix that real quick. So this is 45 times 5 divided by tangent of 20. Now when I do that, my calculator puts a left parenthesis in. It's not so much of a big deal on this one, but every time you work with sine, cosine, tangent, your calculator will do that. So close the parenthesis all the time. Get in the habit of doing that, because if you don't, and you got numbers after that, whoops, it's going to be a very different answer. Okay. Now, go ahead, take your calculator, multiply it. See what you do. Lean left, lean right, check out with other people, see what they get for their calculators. Okay, well, I do mine. Now, 618.18 is what we get. And I'm going to check a couple things. First thing, I'm going to check units, and the other thing is see, did the problem have anything for me to round to? No, it didn't, but it's centimeters, so it's centimeters squared. Okay, I've shown my work. I've got my units all taken care of. My answer is right here. Okay, are there any questions about what I did? Okay, now here's the thing. The method process is the same. It's a pattern. If I'm looking for apothem, I gotta find the apothem, and then once I do it, I just plug it in because I know the other stuff. But you have to know where you're at. You have to know what you have. You have to know what you're finding. If there are questions, you have to make sure we ask them. Okay? So let's make sure that we're getting that done. Let's do the next one. Do it on your own for about 2 minutes, and I'll come in and finish it out. Okay, so here's the deal. We've had time. Let's get this going. What's the area of the regular pentagon? Pentagon, N is 5. Okay, 4-inch sides. Draw your right triangle. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is 2, that's 2, that's 4. This is really not working well, so we're going to try to do this again on the board. Maybe. It should go. There we go. It's playing catch up. Sorry, we're just trying to get this reset. There we go. Okay, now hopefully that'll work better. Now we have a need to find apothem, the A. And I've been finding that as red, so find A. Again, I know this is 360 divided by 5, 72. 72 divided by 2 is 36. So this angle right there is 36 degrees. That's how I find it. I find it the same way every time. My number of sides, N, changes each problem. Okay, so that's why the number looks like it changes. And then I got to cut that in half. Okay, half the central angle is that angle. So now opposite is 2, adjacent is A, tangent of 36 is opposite over adjacent. A tan of 36 is equal to 2. A is equal to 2 divided by tan of 36. 2 divided by tan of 36. I'm done. I found the things I needed to find. I now plug it in 1/2 ANS. So area is equal to 1/2 ANS. 1/2 A, hey, that's 2 tan of 36. N and S are 5 and 4. Hey, I could write them both as 20, couldn't I? So let's go 5 times 4, which is 20. Half of 20 is 10 times 2. In my calculator, I'm putting this, because I just combined terms using order of operations. I did everything on top. 20 times 2 times 1 divided by 2, and that's where I got my 20. And now I plop that into my calculator, 10 divided by tangent of 36. Questions? Was it a miracle step where I got the 20? Okay, it's all right. So I took 20, I took 2, and I divided by 2. This is 2, that's going to be 1, and that's 20, so that's why it's on top. Why do I do that? It just makes it easier to plug it in my calculator. If I have less calculator keystrokes, now here's the problem though. I have to be pretty good at that, otherwise I'm just going to plug it all in my calculator. Okay, yeah. Order of operations allows me to do what I just did. I could go 2 times tan of 36 on the bottom, and then divide that into 40 on top. But what's 40 divided by 2? Still 20, right? So I get to do those combinations that way, so long as I follow the rules of multiplying and dividing. And right now it's 20 tangent of 36. That's what I'm popping in. 20 divided by tan of 36, and it comes out to be 27.53. Now at this time, we should all have the same answers. If we don't, either I made a mistake or you made a mistake. Okay, I'm open to being questioned on it because it's fat fingeritis just isn't for you guys, it's for me too. Okay, if I'm looking back and forth or if I took a number, it was funky. The danger of this is being able to read your own writing because there are multiple stages of the problem. If you're not writing clear enough for yourself to read it, you have to be careful, okay? If you're sloppy and just kind of going by, oh, that's going to be ugly. So make sure you're following through and you're very careful about what you're writing, okay? Now, going on. I'm still doing the same thing, except this time I'm not only going to find the apothem, but I'm going to find the missing side value as well. I'm still going to do the same process. I'm not going to show my central angle finding, which is 360 in this case divided by 8, which is 45 degrees. And then I cut that 45 degrees in 2, which is 22.5. It's already there. Remember, 360 divided by 8 is 45. 45 divided by 2 is 22.5. Why is that? It's right there. And I wanted to make sure that it's not just, well, they don't have it, Blum. You can find it. Once I have that, I have my right angle I'm working with. My right triangle, I should say. It's this one. That's the one I'm working with. And keep in mind, my side is x plus x, which is 2x. Okay, let's fill in what we've got. What I already have is a radius. Well, radius isn't a needed thing for n, s, and a. There's no r there. But I'm going to use radius to help me find the missing pieces. Apothem, nope, we don't have it. But I do have the 22, so I got a lot of stuff going on here. The last thing I've, number of sides. Thank goodness, octagon, it's 8. Okay, so at least I got one thing. So now, apothem was read before, so we're going to find the apothem, find A. Okay, I'm finding A. And again, I'm using sine, cosine, tangent. A is adjacent, and 16.2 is my hypotenuse. Adjacent hypotenuse is cosine. So I have cosine of 22.5 is equal to adjacent 16.2, adjacent over hypotenuse. I multiply by my hypotenuse and I get 16.2 cosine of 22.5. That is A. Now again, I'm not going to multiply this out. I'm just going to write it in as 16.2 cosine of 22.5. Okay, I'm going to move that smudge there so that's a little clearer. Now, to find my next piece, I got to find my side, which is 2x. Oh, I want to make sure you realize it's 2x so much. Find my side, which is 2x, and I grabbed the wrong color. I should actually, let's do some color coding here. Let's make that green. We're gonna go, we're gonna do this and make it green here. Well, that's an interesting thing. Let's go up here. Sorry, guys. Cut. We're gonna make that green. Let's do that. Make it green. Okay, now, going back here, we're gonna take care of that. And now we're making this green, so finding the side. Well, my side is x. And in this case, it's opposite hypotenuse, it's sine of 22.5, which equals x over 16.2. That's 16.2, sine of 22.5 is equal to x. But remember, I said we had to double that because that's only half my side. I got to multiply it by 2 to get it the whole side. So that's why this is going to be 32.4 sine of 22.5 equal 2x. And people are like, why is 2x? Because remember, it's 2x. Okay, that has to be a 2x. I have to do that. I made the right triangle. I have to be aware that that side is half the length of the total side. Okay, once I do that, I'm done. I mean, you know, without any further ado, I just plug things in. So let's go check this out and plug stuff in. Remember, I have area is equal to 1/2 A N S. And I multiply those things together. So I got 1/2. My apothem is 16.2 cosine of 22.5. Okay, my number of sides, well, gosh, that was 8. My side length that I just found and I didn't write down, 32.4 sine of 22.5. So times 32.4 sine of 22.5. Okay, now I got to pop that in my calculator. So there's a lot of little spots I could screw up. So be careful. Double check your stuff as you enter in before you hit enter. You know, like making sure you got 16.2 cosine 22.5. Close the right parenthesis. Times 8 times 32.4 sine 22.5. Close the right parenthesis. 742.29. And I'm going to get rid of this. I don't know. I made that earlier. That's not supposed to be there. Now, we are supposed to go to the nearest square inch. Oops, I did it to the nearest hundredth. So I got to go square inch. So it rounds down to 742 square inches, or inches squared, is my final answer. Are there questions about what I did? Remember, I used sine, cosine, and tangent to find A, sine, cosine, tangent, and doubled it to find S. I have to do that. I'm in a holding pattern until A and S is found. After that, I get it done. So now, we're doing it again. Same thing, same method, same process, okay? A tablecloth, or tabletop, excuse me, has a shape of a regular decagon. Decagon is a 10-sided figure, 10, with a radius of 9.5. Radius is 9.5. From the center to the vertex is 9.5. I've got to find my apothem. Okay, that's A. Remember, I got to find my x. And there's 2 of them here. 2x. Okay, that's why we multiply what we find by 2. Now, I'm going to find A. That's my first thing, find A. And keep in mind, this is an octagon, right? Oh, it's a decagon. 360 divided by 10 is 36. Half of 36 is 18. That's what my angle is right there, 18. So now I've got the cosine of 18 is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. 9.5 cosine of 18 is my apothem. 9.5 cosine of 18. Now my side length, side, which is 2x, remember. Okay, my side, which is 2x. Okay, well, my side, which is x, dang it, it's got to be green. Side, which is x, here is x. Well, that's sine of 18 is equal to x over 9.5. So I got 9.5 sine of 18 equals x. I got to double it. 19 sine of 18 is equal to 2x. Okay, so I got my 2x there. As I go through that, let's redo that because that should be a 2x. So you guys know that that's why I'm doing it, that 2x right there. Now, my side is 19 sine of 18. I just plop it into my formula now. Area is equal to 1/2 A N S. I'm stretching it out because I got to use all that. 1/2. A is 9.5 cosine of 18. Ooh, somebody didn't write a zest there. Cosine of 18. Let's try that again. Maybe. There it goes. Cosine. I'm just going to get rid of the whole thing. Hey, there it starts to work. So we got area is 1/2 9.5. Oh, good Lord. Area is 1/2 9.5 cosine of 18 times 10 times my cosine, my sine. Let's move this down here. My sine, my 19 sine of 18. So those are the things I'm putting in for that area right there. Okay, so I got to pop those things in. I believe it's 265.4, but I'm going to double check. Close the right parentheses when you're working with sine and cosine. It's 265.24. And it is inches squared, and oh, they want us to the nearest inch. So it's just 265 inches squared. Okay, as we go through. Same process. It's not been a secret. But here's the problem. If there are things that are like, ooh, it's a miracle happened, or it's questionable, how in the world does he do that? We got to talk. Because I'm telling you, it doesn't change. This is already on the test. There's 5 of them that we got to work with in various conditions. One is you're given the apothem, the side, and the number of sides. Another, you're missing an apothem. Another one, you're missing an apothem and a side. Okay, and then there's other choices to do as you go through. So we got to be careful about all the things we know about these. Okay, now I'm going to skip the next 2. Skip till Thursday, that's what it says. And then we're doing this. So let's get this going. Let's get the show on the road. So last part of notes today. And again, I'm hoping you're recognizing that this is really calculator interfacing. Once you set this up, you can still really blow your answer without knowing how to enter it in the calculator. And this is really nice because I'm actually giving you another formula. The purpose of this formula as you're going through is to make sure you recognize the 2 sides provided make the angle we're working with. The 2 sides make the angle we're working with. So you have to know that. But why? So I'm going to show you what's happening with this. First, that's my altitude. Okay, that's my height. Don't write this down, just watch. Okay, so I've got 1/2 B. This is B right here. This is my height. My height, if this were just the right triangle, would be the sine of A equal H over C. So C sine of A is my height. Well, gosh, if that's true, where I see height, I go C sine of A. No way. Boom. That's exactly what this formula is. They're just trying to shortcut it so you guys don't have to derive that stuff. You don't have to worry about it. You got a formula you can use. But you have to focus on the fact that the 2 sides, BC, make the angle A in this formula. Okay? So keep that in mind as we're going through and using them. So let's use it. Two sides BC, make the angle. 21 times 12, sine of 48. 21 times 12, sine of 48. Okay. Now, as you work through, this half is because in this formula, we're only going half. If I don't take the half, it is the answer of a parallelogram. Without dividing by 2, without taking the half, it's the area of a parallelogram. As soon as I divide by half, I have a triangle, okay? So I can have you adapt this formula to use with parallelograms. I give you an angle and the two sides that make that angle, and to expect you to find the area of that parallelogram. It's already on your test, I guarantee it. Make sure you're ready for it. After I plop this in, because it's a triangle, I keep the half in there. 93.63, and it's supposed to be the nearest unit, so 94 centimeters squared. That's why I rounded up. I followed the directions after I reread the question. And I hope you're following along, that I do that reread every time. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to do the answer of the next two. You're just using a formula. Get her done. I'm going to hand out your assignment. So make sure you're doing the formula. Write it down each time you use it. I got some people go, oh yeah, I'll remember it. I'll have it on note. Folks, rereading your notes should be reread your notes. You should find out, oh, that's the formula I use in that situation. It should be that direct. Okay, you're not saving yourself any time if you're going back during a review of the material and you're refiguring the material instead of just rereading or reminding yourself. Again, area of a polygon. Every one of these problems was about area of a polygon, 1/2 ANS, and they're regular polygons. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're going. We reviewed the process on every one of the problems that we did. Now, in B here, 16 and 10 make the angle, so those are the two that are multiplied together. I can make this harder by giving you all three sides in one angle, or all three sides in all three angles. And you have to determine which sets of sides you're going to use in which angle. Okay? And it's always the two sides that make the angle are the things you use. 44.73, but they tell us 45 inches squared because I'm rounding to the nearest square unit. On the test, I might have you round to the nearest tenth, the nearest hundredth. Pay attention to the directions. Last one. It's up for grabs right now. See what you got. .22 inches squared. I'm hoping that that's the case. We've got notes done. Remember, tomorrow you have an online study at home. Okay, we have a digital day. Tomorrow's assignment will be a review assignment 10.1 to 10.4 that's already in your notes packet. So if you don't have one, Dudesman, make sure you get one. Okay, they're also, that notes packet's available online. You can find them. Okay, but I will have a video on it. I will not write down what the assignment is. You have to watch the video to find out what it is. If you just do the notes on it, it won't be there. You gotta watch the video, okay? So make sure you're watching the video, finding out what problems you should do, okay? Along with learning how to do those problems. Now, there will be a retest on that available for those folks. So it's a duo thing. It's reviewing the material. It's getting ready for a retest. You'll get your test back by the end of the week, and your scores are already there. Okay, so make sure you're ready for it. Okay. Tonight's assignment is this. Listen to this one. This is a change for tonight's assignment. It's not the whole sheet. It's numbers 1 through 17 odd. Okay, numbers 1 through 17 odd. I just assigned 9 problems. Okay. 9 problems. Let's see how it goes. Good luck.